Good morning, sir. I am going to discuss about the varieties and register of spoken and written language. Languages is the principal method of human communication, either written or spoken words. There are two aspects of language. First, spoken languages is a language produced by articulate sound as opposed to a written language. Example, words and phrases like my bad, busted, and etc. Spoken language is the language we speak. It is often spontaneous and transient. Spoken language is used for interactions. The two speakers or the listener and the speaker are often in the same place. Thus, they can correct any mistake they make and change their utterance as they go along. Written language is an invention in that it must be taught to children who will pick up spoken language or sign language by exposure even if they are not formally instructed. It is also typically more formal, complex, and intricate than spoken language. However, some forms of written language, like instant messages and informal letters, are closer to spoken language. Written language can make use of features like punctuations, headings, layouts, colors, and etc. to make a message clearer. Since the written language does not receive immediately feedback, it should be very clear and unambiguous. So spoken and written language, in spoken language, the truth of a proposition is determined by common sense, reference to experience. But in written language, a greater emphasis is placed on logical and coherent argument. Similarly, the spoken language tends to convey subjective information, including the relationship between the speaker and the audience, whereas the written languages tends to convey objective information. Language variety. Language variety is a generic term for an articulate, coherent form of language. Language variety is referring it the various forms of language triggered by social factors. Variety is a specific set of linguistic items and human speech pattern. Linguistic items any basic unit of languages. Human speech pattern, human voices and accent. Different languages varieties. First is the pidgin, a simplified speech used for communication between people with different languages, a language which develops in situations where the speakers need to communicate but do not share a common or in the same language. Example include Sea Island Creole, spoken in South Carolina Sea Islands, Haitian Creole, and Louisiana Creole. Second one is the Creole, same as Pidgin, that become the first language of the children and the mother tongue of the community, but language is the stable natural language developed from a mixture of different languages. Examples include the varieties that are based on French, such as Haitian Creole, Louisiana Creole, and Mauritian Creole. The third one is a regional dialect. Not a distinct language but a variety of a language spoken in a particular area of a country. Being a given traditional name, which marks them out as being significantly different from standard varieties spoken in the same place. Example, Hillbilly English from Appalachians in the USA, Geordie from Newcastle upon Tyne in UK. The fourth one is minority dialect. A particular minority ethnic group have their own variety which they use as market of identity, that mark of identity usually alongside a standard variety. Example are African American Vernacular English in USA, London Jamaican in Britain, and Aboriginal English in Australia. The fifth one is the indigenous dialect, are spoken mainly second language in ex-colonies with multilingual population. The difference from the standard variety may be linked to English proficiency, or may be part of a range of varieties used to express identity. Example, Singlish spoken in Singapore. It is spoken mainly as second language in ex-colonies with multilingual populations. We have register. Register is defined as the way a speaker uses language differently in different circumstances. Also describe the various style of language available of writing and speaking. Language register. A register voices that describes that various style of language available for writing or speaking that shows and impressions that leave of your voice on others. So Dr. Richard Norquist is Professor Emeritus of Rhetoric and English of Georgia Southern University. The register is defined as the way a speaker uses language differently in different circumstances. It also determines that vocabulary, structures, and some grammars. So we have here the five distinct register. First is the Prosen. Prosen is a language that are rarely changed that refer historical language and communications. Example, they include the golden rule, do unto other as you would do them do unto you. The national anthems, religious, books, laws, and the Bill of Rights. Each one usually has a specific audience, purpose, and context. Then the second one, formal, one-way communication that shows respect, uninterrupted, and restraint. Example, um, include a research paper or an academic presentations, announcement in the newspaper, or a religious sermon. These acts are formal, not casual. They are mostly intellectual and informational, not emotional. The third one is consultative, used by experts that can offer advice. Example, they include a doctor's appointment, a meeting with the school principals, or any first meeting between strangers. The purpose is very specific. To get help with something, the audience is small and specific. The fourth one is the casual, used by speaking to a friend or family member. Example include a team victory celebrations, lunch with friends, school dance, or dinner with friends. or friendly coworkers. There could be one more general purposes for these acts to build team spirit or to have fun. The audience of each of these acts is group. The context is probably very general. So the fifth one is the intimate, used by speaking to a lover or a private conversations. Example of the relationship which use the register are parent-child, couples, spouses, siblings, and best friends. The audience for these acts are specific and limited. The people in the relationships, the contexts are very general, basically whatever situations the people are in. Language register classified. Formal language register is more appropriate for professional writing or letters that will be given to a superior. Example, a business letter of complaints, reports, or announcements. Second one is the informal language register. Informal language register is conversational and appropriate writing to a friend or a family relative. Example is the personal email, friendly letters, or the phone text, diaries, and journals. The third one is the neutral language register, not a writing of formal or informal, but a writing that used to deliver facts or news. Example is the article, reviews, technical writing. So that's all. Thank you.